In this video, about open source software for end users, I will talk about documentation. Documentation is a really important part of any project, not just software. But software developers did come up with some great tools for creating and maintaining documentation. There are others, but the one I use, like most of Python developers, is Sphinx. Sphinx is a tool that makes it easy to create intelligent and beautiful documentation. That is what their docs say, and I totally agree. This is the Django Music Publisher documentation homepage. It is hosted on Read the Docs and uses its template. But it is quite different from a typical open source project documentation. Here is a typical example. Django Reversion is an extension to the Django web framework that provides version control for model instances. This is how the docs start, and this makes no sense to most people. And it just gets more technical. One of many mistakes I made in this project was to copy this logic. Of course it did not work. Eventually it evolved into this. Most of the documentation is really user manual. I will talk more about it later in this video. The usual documentation for developers is in sections installation and for developers. I even put the license in here. It is actually one of two things that reduced the number of emails asking if DMP was really free. What seems to work is a lot of repeating. You say what software does on the home page, then you say it again in the introduction in more detail, then expand on it and then repeat on other pages. While most of the end users I've met are individually nice and smart, collectively they are incredibly stupid. Just feed them the same stuff over and over again, eventually some of them will understand some of it. Most end users expect something that can be installed on their phones, that is secure and safe and reads their minds. Instead, they have to deploy this to their own cloud account. Installation is a huge topic for another video. User manual. The most important thing about it is that it is called user manual or something very similar. Instructions does not cut it, too similar to introduction and installation. It must be full of screenshots. Yes, of login screen as well. Everything needs an explanation. Yes, this is Django admin interface, it is self-explanatory. For admins, maybe, not end users. And, most importantly, put a lot of warnings in it. Do not dry your cat in a microwave. Don't expect them to read the docs. Most of them never do. They prefer to ask you. Walking the thin line between not answering and not answering at all, is in links to the relevant parts of the documentation. Make sure your link to user manual, aka help, leads to the correct place in the documentation. Implement mind reading if possible. You can't? Well, how should end users be able to read your mind and know you want them to search the docs? You can't really expect an end user to figure out that this documentation is searchable. One thing that really works are videos like this one. Somehow watching a 3-minute video makes more sense than reading the docs for 30 seconds. Videos are the new documentation. As I said, I will cover reasons for installation procedure in a later video, but when it comes to videos about the procedure itself, I made 2 videos. Here they are. Remember, repeat the same thing over and over. And below is the whole open source for end users playlist, as well as one video YouTube recommends. Share, like, subscribe. See ya.